It was a good time. Well, we have got Verbo setting up on the high ground, of course, on my favorite characters in Yada. That's just how it is. So Immortals taking the defense early on. Going to be Tempo Storm on the attack, and we'll see what they can get done.
Interesting, we're going to see the Ana Zenyatta pairing here. That's not something we've seen a whole lot of in NA Contenders so far.
Yeah, that's true.
So 2 good targets, of course, for that nano boost with the Soldier 76 and agilities on the Genji.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of flexibility.
This payload is bumping MonteCristo.
It absolutely is. It always is. So Dreamcast, we're going to be starting out on the Widowmaker, looking for those initial picks. Not showing it all yet, just trying to figure out where the enemy team is. Defense is pretty far back, actually, for Immortals.
Yeah, Immortals playing this one up pretty safe. Agility's on the outside, but yeah, they're really letting the payload get through the car wash. They want to fight in this hangar. That's where we see a lot of teams kind of shore up their defenses. It does give a lot of pushing power, though, to the offense once in a while. We'll see how it works out. Verbo going down early, Beast Halo rather, just stomping him flat, but an answering kill. So as the payload moves in here, we'll see how the defense goes for Immortals.
Yeah, well, we saw Dreamcast really get chased out into the hallways by agilities while the rest of his team was engaging.
Yeah.
And with the Soldier Grim Reality on the high ground, really quite easy for them just to pick off people. No pressure up there so far. I think Casper's going to have to switch off of this Widowmaker. There's too much that they could really do with this right now. They've got the Winston and the Genji and the Diva to get in his face.
Yep, well, Nano Boost used already on the Immortal side. Going to give that to the Winston. We'll see what he can get. Just kind of trying to keep the payload from moving, but he jumps up. Dreamcasper still looking for those shots on the Widowmaker, and everybody kind of exiting the high ground for Immortals, actually, which is going to make it maybe a little bit tougher to defend here. Yeah, usually you see the Soldier and the Ana stick up there.
It's one of those times where I think we do see a bit of an issue with the communication. The nano boost going down and not really getting much done for the Winston.
Well, in the end, Fate does pick up the kills that Immortals need, and they do manage to chase Tempo Storm away. So a bit of a shaky defense initially, but if on the flip side, you look at Tempo Storm, and there's not really a ton of kills coming in for Dream, what in the world's going on? Dream Casper, and he has switched over that Soldier 76 now, so yeah,
I think
no more Widowmaker. You got to make that change.
Yeah, you have to make that adjustment at this point in time. I actually think he should have done it immediately after seeing the team composition of Immortals, and he wasn't finding any shots because they were playing so far back. Pulse Bomb going to go down, not going to find anything.
That close call. Grimiality trying to defend himself here. He's got that Tac Visor, gets a kill on Beast Halo, pops a Tac Visor as he gets knocked down, though, and doesn't really get a ton of use out of it. Tempo Storm exiting his field of view for the moment, and that is rough, man. To lose that ultimate like that, ooh, that's tough. They do take down Kosi in the back, though, so Tempo Storm backing off again. Grimiality does find a couple kills, so the defense holds for now.
And they're going to be in good shape to keep this defense going. Agility's with the Dragon Blade, and they have the Nano Boost to pair with it. Tempo Storm, they've got the Transcendence, but everybody's going to have to group up for that one, and they have been playing this more of spread triple DPS style. A lot of targets here for a Genji to go after.
Yeah, that's right. Tempo Storm trying to push the payload now again. They're going to send the Winston up there. There's the Dragon Blade Transcendence used right away to try to counteract that if they can. Hype pops a self-destruct. Is he going to find anybody? He does find JKW. So Tempo Storm without their Lucio for the moment. And they are losing team members left and right. Immortals putting up a really solid defense so far. Tig taking a ninja nap up on the high ground, but he gets out.
Tig got the kill straight onto Agilities after the Dragon Blade had already been pulled, but a nice sleep dart actually keeps him out of the rest of that engagement.
Yeah.
And even though the ult economy has been rather weak for both of these teams so far, it hasn't mattered because Immortals keeps getting the picks on the DPS players of Tempo Storm, and this is stalling out really fast for Tempo.
20 seconds. Tempo Storm has a couple ultimates they can use, and they really need to put that sound barrier and Primal Rage to good use. Dreamcasper on the low ground. Oh, he's got the Tac Visor now as well. They're going to pop the sound barrier. Immortals coming in. Sound barriers on both sides, in fact. Casper with the ultimate, looking for kills. Finds one onto Fate, looking for a little bit more. This might be their moment. The payload still contested, but Tempo Storm finally putting together the kills they need to maybe push this rest away. But at the same time, defense for Immortals, can the Dragon Blade make a difference? Tig gets 2. Looks like that is going to do it. And last minute push, but Tempo Storm manages to take point A. That was close, though.
It was. Tig got the Dragon Blade at exactly the right time, because we didn't see the Tac Visor doing a lot of damage. The Winston bubble in the doorway to server, as well as the Diva being in the server room with him, mitigated a lot of the damage, but one ultimate pushing them over the top as they go into hangar.
Right. Gonna get a little bit of distance on the payload. Immortals taking some time to set up their defense. In reality, has his ult available if he wants to use it. 8 went down though. They lost to Winston early on, and it's gonna make it really tough for Immortals to contest the payload. You can see they're just falling so far back in hangar phase. Tempo Storm may basically get this one for free.
Well, they're going to have to try and fight here right at the last point. They have the ult to do it, and they have a lot of stall time with the Primal Rage just to knock people around off the card.
Now Tempo Storm with an early Transcendence just to try to keep everybody up. There's a Nano Boost. Now onto Fate on the Immortal side. Kariv does go down, so no Ana. Grim Reality getting a couple on that Soldier 76. It's a brawl, people going down on both sides, but Immortals seem to kind of be getting the better end of this for the moment. Yeah, as Too Easy gets taken out, that's going to be about it. So just a little over a minute remaining, and Tempo Storm with not a lot of ultimates. Beast Halo finally getting his up, but Immortals, again, just like kind of in point A, looking like a possible hold here.
Yeah, looking at Too Easy's perspective right now, just picking off the support members, but he's not able to keep it up throughout the whole fight.
Yeah.
Does end up getting hit down there by a nano boosted Winston. And I like the discipline we're seeing from Immortals. They're not charging the card. They knew that there's only a minute left, so wait for Fate, who had gone too far forward, to go ahead and respawn, and then use their ultimates, trying to play where they're the strongest.
Here we go. Dragon Blade coming out now for Tig. What's he gonna get with it? Oh, Agility's actually getting taken out. He had the Dragon Blade out instead, and Tempo Storm off to a good start in this fight. Got the man advantage now as the Primal Rage gets popped. Pulse Bomb taken up into the air. Hype managing to avoid his teammate Zyme to that. Pop the self-destruct afterwards, but not finding any kills. Tempo Storm, though, they have got everything they need to take point B. So another close call in the end, but they keep this payload going. Getting point B at the last minute. Ooh, and with that last second defense attempt by Immortals, this might be some extra pushing power that Tempo Storm ends up getting.
Casper really the hero right there for landing the Helix rocket and shutting down the Dragon Blade that could have really tipped the scales in Immortals' favor. Trying to regroup now, walking back towards that payload. They have been disciplined in their slow approaches and decisions to fight, but their actual engages have been a little bit staggered here so far.
That's right. Payload moving again. Immortals pops the sound barrier. They're going to get aggressive here. Coming in, Agility's over onto the Roadhog now, looking to get picks. He gets the kill on the Beast Halo already. Another Dragon Blade comes out. Ooh, Zenyatta charged out of the fight. Did he get the healing he needed to? Tig actually picking up the kills with those Dragon Blades, though. Nano Boost onto Grim Reality. Not finding any kills, though, but he does enough damage to let Hype sort of clean up. And Immortals will hold for now.
The Nano Visor did just enough to push them back. Hype trying to work his way up toward the Graviton now, but they've got to be very careful about that because, again, Verbo came in early with the sound barrier, and then that led to this situation here where they're getting cut down. And even though we actually see the charge go off, Tig not going to be taking any damage from it.
I mean, it almost charged the Zenyatta right on top of his allied Genji and kept him healed up. So a little bit of a unfortunate circumstance there. Tempo Storm with the sound barrier. They've got a couple ults to work with here. Cozy not getting a whole lot before he goes down, though. Tig takes down Agilities. That payload barely moving. Dreamkai's on the high ground, but he needs to duck back and grab that big health pack. Trying to get back to the payload now, and Tempo Storm, it seems like whenever they need to come up clutch, they have been doing that on their offensive push. They are getting it towards the end, but they're going to be doing it in overtime. Overtime, can they possibly stop this payload? It's so close anyway. One last ditch effort defense for Immortals. Tempo Storm looking to try to finish it. Dragon Blade comes out yet again for Tig. Seems like he has that every 5 seconds. Earthshatter comes in. Maybe that's going to be enough to turn it for Immortals, but no, they're losing too many people. And even with that Nano Boost onto Fate, it's just not enough. And Tempo Storm completes their offensive round in OT.
And credit to Tempo Storm coming through basically in overtime across all 3 points, delivering when it really mattered. They're going to end Gibraltar with 0 time left in the bank, but that last push, they had such a huge positional advantage. Immortals never could quite get their soldier onto the high ground. And right here, taking a look at this last Dragon Blade slashing through, really absolutely no pressure. See Kariv stuck in the back there, and with the Earth Shatter missing everybody but JKW, no ability to follow up on the crowd control.
Yeah, it was a hard-fought offensive round. Immortals came so close to holding, you know, basically at the end of every single point, but they seem to always find themselves in a situation where Tempo Storm had a bit of an ult advantage, and then Tig towards the end just finding a lot of kills with the Dragon Blade.
I think you can really see the communication issues with Immortals as well, because sometimes they'd be engaging with a tank, or Verbo would be trying to get that sound barrier so they could engage, but not everybody was always following up on the calls that we're going for, and it did end up in sort of wasted ultimates or early picks for Immortals in several occasions, and Tempo Storm was on top of it when it came to target selection and their shot calling right afterwards.
Well, Fate especially, one of the 2 new Korean players for Immortals seemed to find himself kind of on his own, and when you see that a lot, you kind of jump to communication issues for probably the most likely reason, especially given the situation that these guys have played together for, what, slightly over 24 hours now, so it's a tough spot, but Immortals makes it competitive at least. Let's see what they can do with their offensive round. Tempo Storm, though, in a great position. Even though they did finish in overtime, they've got all 3 points, and it's tough to take that 3rd one on Gibraltar sometimes.
Yeah, it definitely is. And Tempo Storm with this composition is going to be trying to defend further up. They don't have any of the long-range hit scan to try and take advantage of the high ground back towards point A. And we're going to see a very different defense here, more ground-based, and we'll see how soon they want to engage. Kriv moving over to the Zenyatta now. No Ana for Immortals.
Yeah. Ground-based and aggressive for Tempo Storm on the defense. Agilities, meanwhile, on the attacking Genji. Just trying to build up that Dragon Blade a little bit. Team scatters, and Kriv got a little bit too far forward on the Zenyatta. That was a dangerous place to be, maybe looking for some targets on the high ground, but he paid for it. That said, Immortal's the one coming out ahead in this early fight. As Beast Halo goes down, that payload's going to move through Car Wash.
They invested a lot into killing Kriv on the Zenyatta and didn't get a lot in return for it. The rest of the members focused down very quickly, overcommitting towards the payload onto the Zen. That means Grim Reality and Agility's easily cleaning up that backline. They get a lot of nice time here on the card, and they start controlling the doors. Tig comes through the door too early. Didn't expect them to be playing that far forward at the choke.
Wow, with no Tig to help on the defense, Tempo Storm in a bit of trouble. Dream Casper goes down as well. And this is a good start for Immortals to complete point A very quickly. Contested right now, of course. Too easy doing what he can, but Verbo gets a kill on the opposing Lucio in a bit of supportal combat. Tig back in the action now. Maybe he can make a difference. He's pretty close to that Dragon Blade, but not quite close enough. Kriv gets a bit of a revenge kill onto him with the Zenyatta. And it looks like that payload's going to get there. It's so close, 1 meter away, but there we go. And now Immortals actually coming into Hangar with quite a bit more time than Tempo Storm had available.
And in these trickle-in situations, that's when Zenyatta becomes so powerful with that Discord orb. You have a couple of people around the card, easy to designate your targets, just burst them down as fast as you can. And unless you can get that Zenyatta down early, they did get him eventually, but it was too late. Too many members of Immortals on the card. Now they're in a strong position coming into Hangar with basically 6 ultimates. Verbo about 8% away.
Yeah. A lot of ultimates for Immortals to use through this push too. They didn't need to actually do much to take point A. Dragon Blade comes out, Agilities finds a kill on Cozy right away. Meanwhile, we're on board with Fate as he helps take down Dream Kaiser. Now Agilities sitting on the payload. And Tempo Storm's defense, honestly, just looking very scattered right now. Again, sort of jumping onto the cart one at a time, and like you said, with that Discord orb, when you're taking that much more damage and everybody's focusing you, you're gonna have a bad time.
Tempo didn't have any ults to work with at the start of that fight, though, so really just sort of an eco push for them, coming through, trying to build up something, but Immortals didn't overreact. They just used the Dragon Blade, playing conservative with their ult economy.
Right, here we go, Primal Rage, Transcendence. Holy, that is a big combo, hyped in Grim Reality, putting their explosions together to get 4 of Tempo Storm, and this defense is eliminated. Man, point B taken easily. So now 5 minutes into the final stretch here for Immortals. I was not expecting a push like this.
Well, I think Tempo thought they were going to be safe with the Transcendence. Unfortunately, that's a healing over time, and it doesn't actually affect burst that damage like the D.Va self-destruct. So when they committed to the cart, they didn't have anywhere left to go.
Well, I hope we get a replay of that, because I really want to know how Hyped managed to grab 3 with that self-destruct. That was... You don't see that happen very often. At least not to people who aren't named Mickey. Tempo Storm with the sound barrier trying to come in for the defense now. Used on the side of Immortals as well. Sound barrier out, and now finally a little bit of return pressure from Tempo Storm as they will force Immortals to fall back.
And that was a pretty huge commitment, though. When we look at the sound barrier, the tack visor, and the Dragon Blade, all used by Tempo Storm.
Yeah.
Casper and Tig trying to take both flanks with their ultimates. And yes, they're successful, but there's just so much time for Immortals to work with right now that getting all of those ults out may be punished here in just a couple of minutes.
Sneaking in, he's got that pulse bomb ready to go. Defensive matrix there, tries to dodge around it. Uh-oh, Kari in a little bit of trouble, gets jumped on by the Winston as well. There's a stick, and he kills. Not quite, gets enough damage done to take down Beast Halo, though. Or rather, that was the other tracer. Multiple tracers.
Yeah, that's not really enough, though, for that kind of investment.
Yeah.
You can build up that pulse bomb very quickly, so it's not too big of a deal. But trading 1 for 1, I want to get a little bit more from that. They give him a chance to get some damage down and start charging up themselves.
Dragon Blade is out immediately. Dreamcaster goes down. Or Dreamcasper, rather, goes down. Immortals take another fight pretty easily here, it looks like. Yeah, and as Too Easy falls, that payload keeps moving.
And Beast Halo basically went in 1 versus 4. Agilities was all on his own up towards the front line, and this is looking really grim for Tempo Storm right now.
And not just the player grim. There's a Transcendence coming out again. Tempo Storm doing everything they can. Self-destruct. JKW going down, and Immortals right away pulling out ahead in this fight. Primal Rage for Beast Halo, just kind of knocking people away from the payload, but not knocking them out of the fight. And as he finally falls, this payload is gonna finish. Respawn's coming in, though. We'll see if they can maybe hold it. Sound barrier to try to secure this one, and that is going to be 3:45 left on the clock for Immortals. A crushing first offensive push for them.
I mean, Tempo Storm is going to have to bring it with an extended overtime push to win this game with 2 minutes and 45 seconds behind on this payload map. And we'll see what they can do, starting on offense yet again. And take a look at Agilities here. Actually was covered very nicely by the Winston bubble on his engage, and then cutting through the supports easily. Beast Halo tried to engage onto the payload at the same time, but he was focused down basically 1v4.
You know, and it's funny, we were talking about the communication issues that Immortals seem to be having on their defensive stand in the first round, where in the second one, when Tempo Storm found themselves on defense, it seemed like you saw those kind of things in spades, right? You saw a lot of people streaming onto the payload 1v1. You saw a lot of kind of ill-timed engages. And so Tempo Storm, you know, they need to have a big push here. And because it's looking like defense is not going great.
Yeah, Immortals, though, a big credit to them in the hangar phase. They basically used just a couple of ults to nearly get all the way through before the big self-destruct came through at the very end. And that was some really good discipline with their ult economy. And take a look at Fate here. They are going to play further back again. So running with the same composition that we saw on their first defense, hoping for a little bit more success here. Agility's going to try and poke out and see what their composition is going to be. This time, Casper sticking to the Hanzo.
Interesting.
Now switching out. Okay.
I was going to say, yeah.
Sonic Arrow, he just stayed there for a little longer than I thought he would. So yeah, quick Sonic Arrow. Now he's going to change it up. I like the fact that he's not staying with the Widowmaker again. It was a problem when they were playing so far back on the first defense here.
I love this defensive setup, though, for Immortals. You're so stable back here. It really takes a lot of effort as the offense to attack the Soldier and Ana up on the high ground.
Oh, Zenyatta's there, too. I mean, the problem is if you try and dive them, then they'll have a Discord orb, and they'll have 3 people, possibly 5, if the D.Va and Winston get back there, too.
Now, Fate going really deep. He has to exit the fight early. Grim Reality does take down Too Easy. Tempo Storm with a couple kills. Immortals scrambling to hold this one. Fate able to delay the payload quite a bit, and nobody's really there to do a lot of damage to him. Yeah, exits as soon as Dreamcasper comes back into the picture here. Payload is moving, but we're into overtime already. And remember, you get no more time, even if you do take point A. Agility about halfway to his Dragon Blade right now. Grim Reality with the kill on Tig. That's going to be a problem for Tempo Storm as they come in. Verbo takes down JKW. And that's the nano boost onto Agilities, I believe. Dreamcasper taken out, and that is going to be it. The payload did not move too far. You know what's happening? I keep wanting to say Dream Kaiser. Because Kaiser is my Dream Reinhardt.
And Dreamcaster, because it was your favorite. It was your favorite console system.
That's true. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that was my favorite console. How did you know? You know me so well.
I do. So what I liked about that last one is it looked like it was a good 1-for-1 trade at the start, but the problem with Too Easy going down is that he was the one who was harassing the 3 members on the high ground from Immortals. And as soon as he was gone and that pressure was gone, it basically just opened up for the soldier from Immortals to shoot down over the entire payload, and they never had any more pressure on him, really. So that 1-for-1 trade is one you'll definitely take if you're Immortals and help them slow down that push by quite a bit.
Well, Immortals, not too far of a push needed for them to take Gibraltar. And we came into this one thinking, you know, based on communication, based on time, these teams have had to practice as a full roster. Tempo Storm coming in with the edge on paper. But Gibraltar so far looking pretty one-sided in favor of Immortals.
Yeah, and they have that huge time bank to work with. Does seem pretty unlikely that they will not be pushing at least to a victory here on this first map. It would be quite a big upset.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty epic hold if Tempo Storm could keep them from winning this one. They're going to try, though.
Okay, so we are going to be seeing the triple DPS from Tempo again. Likely, they are going to play further back and try and flank around with the Tracer.
Yep.
So will be different than what we saw on their first Gibraltar defense. Agility's dropping down right now, and actually they're playing more aggressively than I thought, but they don't have a lot of room to work with.
Whoa, Cozy going off the edge. Grim Reality gets 2 right away, and Immortals slaughtering Tempo Storm. That wasn't even close.
And that's probably it right there. Tempo Storm was trying to defend aggressively because they have so much time that they need to bleed off of this clock, but unfortunately, you lose the first big engagement like that. You give over so much ult charge to the enemy team, and that makes the second defense here closer to point A even more difficult.
Yeah. And Grim Reality was already up ahead on that Tracer, harassing on the high ground as they pull the payload in here. We'll see what they can get done. Looking for a little bit more. Sound barrier, or rather, attack visor has been used. Tempo Storm finally finding a bit of stability in their defense here.
Yeah, Tig actually picking up 3 really big kills right off the bat. So they buy themselves more time. Casper gets close to that attack visor, looking at 90% right now. And Immortals going to back off and regroup.
Looking pretty even up on ultimates. Tempo Storm maybe a little bit in the lead percentage-wise. They can certainly use it. Immortals coming in through the hallway now. Gonna go and dive on the high ground right away. We'll see if they can get anything out of it, though. Hype just trying to absorb as much as they can. There's Curry with the Transcendence, Agilities, and Hype picking up the early kills. And that payload is moving. Too Easy trying to delay it a little bit. That Tracer can be slippery, hard to take down, but eventually it goes. JKW not getting a whole lot done. And Cozy just trying to buy time for the respawns at that Transcendence. Nothing else really to do there. Too Easy in as well. Casper goes down very quickly in Immortals. A little bit of a rough push there, but as Tig goes down to the self-destruct, that's going to be it. Immortals taking Gibraltar pretty easily.
That was such a good attack from Immortals on that point A. All of them coming up over the top and then down through the door on the left-hand side of the point. And that allowed them to dash up and kill Casper immediately. And considering he had the attack visor just come up, timing couldn't have been better. They took away the high ground advantage. They took away the first ultimate that Tempo Storm was planning to use on that defense, and then basically snowballed it from there.
Well, this was that huge self-destruct that Hyped had. Oh yeah, just tossing that straight up. And it looks like Tempo Storm just not aware, and
well, they thought they were safe from Transcendence, right? They made a hard commit. They made a hard commit because they thought the Transcendence was, of course, normally going to be enough to keep them alive.
It's not going to save you from self-destruct,
It definitely isn't, but they didn't expect the self-destruct to be thrown straight up in the air.
I think that's just
save you
really
from a
good
lot of
self-destruct positioning.
It really was. Well, Hyped, he's done this before, and he's definitely well known for his D.Va. And honestly, I think it really benefits this Immortals team when D.Va was a little bit out of the meta. They struggled a little bit, and he struggled specifically to find heroes that he could play. So still a question to see what he could play in the future. But I want to talk about Genji and the importance of Genji, because both sides actually benefited from that. Tig on that first time around, it seemed he had Dragon Blade every fight, and then Immortals was like, well, we can try that too, and they've had Agilities with similar results. But how did they fit into the victory here for Immortals?
Well, I think that one of the things that they had going for them was more of a use of Ana, right? So you're going to be able to commit more to Dragon Blades by using that nano boost, and that's quite helpful. But it just powers up the Genji so much and makes it more likely that you're going to get one of those wipes. And with Dragon Blade, and without the nano boost, you have a lot of more issues, especially if there's going to be a Zenyatta on the enemy team with a quick focus.
Yeah, if you're going to have that nano boost, you're going to get a lot more of the Dragon Blades to begin with, too. So
Yeah. The simple math, right?
Yep.
Yeah, in this case. Well, it seems like